All right, Ryan Tesnow here, realtor with the Robin Chandler Hart Group, and today I have Robin Chandler. And so I really wanted to do this video because you obviously have a very interesting background, how you grew up, and I want to say houseboat, but I know you'll kill me. And so just kind of wanted to learn more about what it was like growing up on a boat.
Okay.
And a little bit about it, and I just found it fascinating because obviously it's something that not a lot of people get to experience. And
yeah, we are a rare breed.
Yeah. So first off, I'd like to just ask, why do you hate people calling it a houseboat?
It's not that I hate it, I guess. It's just, in my mind, when I think of a houseboat, I think of this very square thing that I didn't live on.
Yeah.
I lived on, and I don't like to say yacht either because that sounds pretentious to me, but it's technically a motor yacht.
Okay.
Or motorboat, I guess.
Okay.
So we'll show the pictures of the difference between the two. But so that's the difference, because I think people are visualizing something else. I'm like, well, it's not really that, it's this.
Okay. And this is something that all of the people that live on boats, the whole community, hate the houseboat term? Or
Probably.
is this...
If they're living on a different type of boat, they know the different types of, if they lived on a sailboat and somebody said, oh, you lived on a houseboat, they'd be like, no, I lived on a sailboat.
Okay.
Or if you lived on a houseboat and somebody said you lived on a sailboat, you'd be like, no, I lived on a houseboat. It's like a different
I get
terminology.
I will never speak the term again. But
that people automatically, when you say you live on a boat, they associate house with living.
Yeah.
And so it's an easy thing to say. Somebody said they lived on a boat. It's kind of a natural thing to say houseboat.
I understand. Yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about, like, what age did you start? Did you live on one your whole life, or?
More or less. So my dad was in the Navy, so he had a love of boats. And when I was 5, they had a boat before I was born, and it was actually, if you want to count my first experience, would be in my mother's womb. But they sold that boat and they lived in Orlando for the first 5 years.
Okay.
And then from age 5 on until I moved out, I lived on a boat.
So really, most of your childhood, you lived on a boat.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in the marina because my dad, first he had his own business in Orlando, and then he became the dock master in the marina that we lived in. So the first marina was in Daytona on Beach Street.
Okay.
So we lived there, and he was the dock master, and we lived there until I was about 13, I think. And then we moved over to where the restaurant Boondocks is. It's a marina called Adventure Yacht Harbor. And from 13 on, that's where I lived in that marina. We didn't travel in it too much because everybody worked.
Okay.
My mom and dad both had jobs. And then when my brother and I were 15, we both had jobs. So we didn't travel too much.
Now, when you say you moved marinas, is that like a big deal or not really, where you're docking? Was it like a big transit? Because obviously when you move to a new house, it's a big transition and everything, but maybe just moving marina, I mean, I don't know, is that like a big deal, or?
No, moving marinas is not a big deal. It's just a nice change of scenery. So went from being on the mainland side in the marina at the Halifax Marina off of Beach Street to being on the beach side down near where I live now in Ponce Inlet. So, it's a different feeling, different schools, different friends.
Yeah.
Like
okay. Now, did you have a lot of friends growing up that lived on boats as well, or were you guys pretty secluded, or like how?
There was a couple of people at the city marina that lived on boats.
Okay.
There was one girl that was about my age, and she had a younger brother, and they lived on a boat. For most of the time that we were at the city marina, they lived on their boat. And then there was another family that had people my age. They actually lived down here in Ponce now, and we're still friends with them. I believe my brother taught Graham how to surf, and friend Monty lives out in New York now, but they lived on a sailboat and had traveled around for a while, but then they moved into a house, but they lived there for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So not too many people living on boats, but a few.
Okay. So kind of tell us a little bit about like day-to-day life, how it differs, what does it look like?
Well, I mean, you're not leaving your house, your garage, you're getting right into a car. So you got to go down, down the dock and, to your car. So if it's raining, I guess you have to deal with those a little bit more.
Yeah.
Laundry, don't really have a washing machine on a boat. So you're doing laundry in a laundromat.
Okay.
So I guess I probably learned to do laundry probably sooner than most people because I went with my mom to the laundromat a lot.
And then in terms of like you guys had like a full kitchen and everything like that, and
We had in our galley, we had a microwave / convection oven and a stove top on the first one. I'm trying to remember, and a fridge and a full size fridge. Yeah.
Okay.
So not a full kitchen, but we were able to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just probably not as much as others. So
yeah.
My mom's cooking was a little limited. Sorry, Mom.
So in terms of that was obviously growing up and living on a boat is different than most of your friends. And so what kind of questions did they have? Was it different? Did a lot of were people confused by it? How was it growing up?
Yeah, I would get a lot of questions like, how do you go to the bathroom? How do you take a shower? How do you get to school? And my answer was usually the same as you. We had a shower, we had a toilet. Yeah. We didn't have to take a dinghy to get to the car. We're docked, so it wasn't that different, but different still. What
about inviting people over? Was it close quarters, or did you guys have quite a bit of room? Or
well, we had 2 different boats growing up. So you were asking about moving earlier. We did move boats at one point in time. The time I was 13 and moved to the other boat. So that was a little bit bigger boat, and it was very exciting because I got a door to my room. I know that was exciting.
Big day.
Yeah. So the first half of my life. So in a boat, you don't have a whole lot of privacy.
Yeah.
So the first half of my life, the younger years, I just basically had a cutout right next to my parents' room with like a small nightstand and a small closet and built in. Everything's built in. So one thing with moving from a boat, you don't have to move furniture because it's all built in.
That's true.
So it's just your belongings. And we didn't have many of them because there's not a lot of space. So that wasn't too bad. And being a kid, you're not the one doing the moving, so I don't know how difficult it was. I guess I should probably ask my parents that.
So you did get your own door when you were 13.
Yes,
and so then where was your brother?
So my brother, because he was a little older than me and a boy, he always got the better room. So he was at the front of the boat.
Okay.
So he had a little more privacy and a little more space from my parents. I was always right next to their room. And I like to sing, as we know.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, my dad was always kind of trying to tell everybody to be quiet. Don't be too loud. Don't walk too loud. A lot of that. But he never really told me not to sing too loud, which is surprising because I sing pretty loudly with my headphones on in my room.
Yeah.
With the door shut. And, every once in a while they tell me to be quiet, but.
What were you listening to?
Oh gosh, a lot of different things. I used to like Air Supply when I was really little.
Okay.
So, and then, a lot of female singers and things I could sing along to.
Yeah. Okay.
Whitney Houston, Olivia Newton-John I liked for a little while. Crystal Gayle even.
Crystal Gayle, okay. Good to know. So what was kind of looking back, some of your, favorite memories about living on a boat?
Well, I like the water still. I still do to this day. So that was always a good memory. We used to take it to Disappearing Island, which is a little island here. Well, you know where it is.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, it's right here off of Ponce Inlet. It's an island that comes and goes, and a lot of people take their boats there. So we would go there on the weekends when we were younger, and we would jump off the bow of the boat and let the current take us to the back. So it's kind of like having a nice big diving board.
That's
and
awesome.
Then we'd swim over to the island because it was too big of a boat to park at the island.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. Except for the one time when I got stung by a Portuguese man of war and had to swim back. That wasn't fun.
So what happened?
I was at the island with my family. We were playing around on the sandbar. And I guess a man of war wrapped its tentacles around my stomach.
Oh my gosh.
And then I had to swim back crying because I was little. My mom took good care of me though. I think she put baking soda and vinegar or something like that.
Now I'm terrified of the water again. I was just getting comfortable.
I don't ever see it very often. That was the one time I never saw it. It just stung me.
Yeah, that's even scarier though.
But I will tell you some stories with my sister. We used to take our dinghy, which is a little small boat with a motor that we could just kind of ride around in, and we would collect jellyfish that didn't sting. So there are a lot of jellyfish
way.
that don't sting, like the big white ones, they don't really sting. So we would kind of scoop them out and experiment, I guess.
That's cool. That's really cool. All right, so you heard a little bit about the positive. You know, looking back or even in the moment when you were growing up, what was some of the drawbacks of living on a boat, if any?
Well, the lack of privacy.
Yeah.
So you don't have a whole lot of space.
Yeah.
So I love a walk-in closet now.
Yeah.
That's kind of a must on my list because I didn't have one
Yeah.
for a very, very, very long time. So lack of space, close quarters. No, you know, my brother and I used to have a calendar with who got to control the remote on that day because didn't have a lot of room, so we had to share a TV. And then when my friends were able to sneak out of their bedroom windows, that was not an easy thing for me to do because I had a porthole.
A little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair. Oh shit, I forgot another transition. Trying to think. Okay. So now if somebody's watching this video and clicked on it, is, you know, thinking about taking their family to live the boat life, what kind of tips would you give them to help them out?
I would say probably spend a lot of time outside, outdoors, travel in it. That's one thing I kind of wish we had done.
Yeah.
We didn't really, I didn't go to the Bahamas until I was an adult, which seems sad when you lived on a boat.
Yeah.
So things like that, I would say travel in it. Experiences, I'm all about experiences. I love traveling and I love experiences. So I would live on a boat again.
Really?
Yeah. And travel in it.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
Awesome.
But it is a lot of maintenance, which is why they don't have it any longer. They have a house now. After I moved out, they got space. So yes.
So what does the maintenance look like? Is it just a lot?
Well, talking about the jellyfish, in the summertime when the jellyfish kind of migrate here and there's a lot of them and it's really hot out, the jellyfish would get sometimes sucked into our AC system and we would not have AC for a little bit. So yes, we do have air conditioning on a boat.
Now, what is it? Is it window units or?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know.
The magic of parents providing.
Yeah.
It just was there.
It was just there. Yeah. But I'm assuming you controlled it in the engine room, which was located like in the galley area. The stairs lifted up and the engine room was underneath there.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's where it was.
Okay. And so I gotta ask, because this was something that I was just, you know, asking you a ton of questions about because it interested me so much, was the weather. You know, obviously we have a lot of unpredictable weather in this area, and it's nice most of the time, so definitely still move here. But, you know, it's unpredictable, and so, you know, during storms, hurricanes, what does that look like? Was there a lot of prep? Was it scary? Was it?
No, we didn't really. I mean, I don't really recall anything out of the ordinary. Like when because the marinas are, at least the ones that we lived in, are pretty well protected. They're not directly off the intercoastal. You kind of go down and they're kind of protected a little bit more. So you don't get the wake and all of that. So the storms didn't ever feel too bad to me. At least I don't recall anything memorable. The only thing I remember about one hurricane, and because my dad was a dock master, he was out, you know, helping with everybody else. I just kind of remember him being out there holding on to ropes and making sure all the boats were secure, and we were just at home on the boat.
Yeah.
But I don't recall anything scary ever happening or anything. I have one kind of funny story. There was, I was on the boat by myself. I think my parents were probably listening to my music really loud. My parents were down at somebody else's boat or doing something outside, and somebody had come onto our boat, broken into it, I guess you'd say. Was never locked, so you can't break into it. But
Yeah.
They came on when they weren't supposed to be there, and they stole like the life ring. But my dad caught him kind of mid-action and chased him. He jumped in the water. My dad dove in the water after him and drove him back. I don't know why they were stealing that, if it was like a college prank or something stupid, but that happened.
Very cool.
It's the only exciting thing I really remember.
All right. Okay, so I did want to ask about the, you know, in our area, a lot of different cities, we have a lot of boat parades, festivals on the water, things like that. So were y'all a part of that, or?
Yeah, we used to decorate for Christmas, and we
Yeah.
do the Christmas boat parade. And a lot of times I would dress up. Like I think one year I was Mrs. Santa Claus, and my cousin Shannon
Yeah.
was Santa Claus. And we dressed up in little outfits and sang songs and sat in the front of the boat with all the lights and decorations.
Yeah.
We won a few years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then one year, me and a couple of my other friends, this was the second boat because my friend Tracy and Kim, and we were dressed as angels sitting on the bow of the boat singing songs.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what did y'all do for Halloween? Did people come around and get candy at the boats, or?
We would actually trick or treat during Halloween.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then there's neighborhoods nearby that we could go to too, but we would go boat to boat and trick or treat. A lot of times we got money,
Yeah.
quarters and things like that,
Yeah.
because you know they're not expecting a whole lot of trick or treaters, but
Yeah.
we did it.
And then I was also wondering, like, so when you were, you know, you're young, you're growing up in a boat, you know, you get comfortable, you get used to it, but when you used to go over to, you know, other people's houses and stuff, was there times where you're like, man, I hate living on a boat, or were there times where you're like, man, I can't believe these people don't live on a boat, you know,
Yeah.
like, or was it just so normal for you didn't really even think about it?
I think I was probably envious of most of my friends that had houses because they
Yeah.
had more space and more privacy and things like that, where
Yeah.
I felt a little trapped, but I mean, I used to kind of refer to it as living on a trailer on water,
Okay.
kind of small,
Yeah.
but now I look back and it was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, no, it's really, really cool. It's really interesting. And so now I know you moved there when you were 5. So was this like your parents' dream to get a boat and move on it? Is that why it happened, or?
I mean, I guess it was my dad's from
Yeah.
the Navy.
Yeah.
He still likes boats. He just doesn't want to do the maintenance required because there is a lot of maintenance. You gotta, you know, stain the teak. You gotta clean the barnacles
What
off
is
the
that?
bottom. So there's a lot of wood on a boat. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of teak on both of the boats that we had. So
I'll just nod like I know what that means.
so, you know, that type of wood, I guess.
Okay, okay.
And so you had to constantly varnish and restain that and paint it, and the engines, of course, would have problems all the time. What do they say about boating? Like the best days are the day you buy it and the day you sell it.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And you did talk about in the beginning that now could you see, you know, eventually moving back on a boat one day, or is that something you would ever do again, or?
I would, but because we had a big boat, and you know, docking a big boat is not an easy feat. So I basically would learn how to get out of the way,
Yeah.
or try to anyway. And then my dad still says to me, "How do you live on a boat and not know anything about boating?" I'm like, "Well, I learned how to get out of the way." So I would have to learn a lot.
Yeah. So in terms of, you know, actually recommending it to somebody, if somebody said, you know, give me your honest take, I'm thinking of taking my daughter and my son to live on a boat, tell me what you really think, what would you tell them?
I think it depends on the circumstances. Yeah. I think the best of both worlds is to have one of each.
Yeah.
To have one that you can travel in, but then also have a place where you can go back and have some space and some privacy and not feel trapped, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would suggest. So get that condo on the beach.
I think that's fair. So I think that's about all we got. We'll wrap it up. And again, my name's Ryan Tesnow. I'm a realtor with the Robin Chandler Hart Group. And of course,
And I'm Robin Chandler Hart.
thank you all so much for tuning in. And until next time, we'll see y'all later.